Welcome into another edition of the 617, brought to you by the Crow-Worthy Network, the voice of the Boston fans by the Boston fans. We are back for our weekly check-in of all things Boston sports, good and bad. I am Craig D'Alessandro. Ray Sean Buchanan is with me, Joe Malkin, and Michael Marcangelo as well. And I kind of figured at this point into the season, it would be kind of malpractice if we didn't talk about the Boston Bruins at this point, because they are leading the entire National Hockey League in, wins record. They got the best record in the NHL right now. That should be what we're talking about. In part, it is, until last Friday happened, and the news came out. I didn't think much of it because I'll be the first person to tell you I'm not the biggest puckhead out there, but the little signing came out. Bruins signed the Malcolm Mitchell. What's it?
Mitch Miller. Mitch Miller.
Mitch Miller.
Mitchell was the wide receiver. With such great promise.
We'll get to the Patriots in a little bit. Mitchell Miller to a 3-year entry-level contract with the Boston Bruins. I didn't really think about seeing the Bruins make a million different transactions like this in the past, but that story, just the avalanche of, oh my! Actually, look into it. I read into it. He had this thing when he was 14. So this is another.
Well, not to cut you off, Craig, but to absolutely cut you off. To call it a thing when he was 14 is an absolute disservice to Isaiah Meyer Crothers and the family, everything that asshole put him through. He was bullying him since the second grade. Apparently when you're 9 years old, it's appropriate to, in second grade, third grade, use racial slurs to the point where this kid is crying. He's upset. Obviously he's disabled. He's African-American, right? So that's all happening. And then when you're 14 or 16 years old, you and a couple of your bros put a push pop in a urinal and you force this kid to eat it. It's again, sorry to hijack it. I think the problem with calling it an incident when he was 14 negates all of the heartache and hardship that he put this person through for the other 8 years. And the only reason that we're talking about this now is because Mitch Miller is an asshole and has since not apologized, has showed no contrition. And the only time that he even reached out to the victim, because that's what this person was a victim. He was targeted for his entire life for things that he could not control because this other guy's a mental fucking midget. So let's just put that out there. The only reason that we're hearing about it now is because the Bruins are just so stupid and actually reaching out to a guy who was drafted in 2020 by the Coyotes and was cut for this very reason. This information was out there. And talk about, putting a real fucking damper on a great start. I mean, we don't talk about hockey a lot on this program, but I can assure you that not one of us predicted that through 13 games, the Bruins would be 11-2 and would be leading the league in points. That Krejci would be looking like, I don't know, a 5-year younger version of himself. That Patrice comes back and is contributing, and that goaltending on the Boston Bruins has been elite. I mean, you have Linus Ullmark, who looks like he's doing his best impersonation of Tim Thomas in the Cup run, but in the regular season. Those are all the things that we should be talking about. But what we're talking about is the utter ineptitude or negligence, and what I believe is a fireable offense by Don Sweeney, by Cam Neely, and to put Isaiah's family and him in the spotlight again for this. And I'm just going to call him a piece of garbage. Mitch Miller, get him out of here. Ban him from the league. Do not let him play again. You're only sorry now because it's affecting your hockey rights. Go flip fucking burgers. That's what you deserve. That's what you deserve to do.
Yeah, this kid is 20 years old now. Like Mike said, drafted in the 4th round by the Coyotes. The Coyotes and all the other franchises in the NHL were contacted by Isaiah's mother. She sent them a letter and basically told them what this kid did. The Coyotes, which we've now learned basically with their whole issue with their arena, they're kind of a flippant franchise too. So they then relinquished his rights because they found out about this. And to expand on what Mike said, where he hasn't apologized, he would tell you he has, Mitch Miller, that is, because he sent a court-ordered letter, reached out to the kid in his DMs on Instagram, and the Bruins, a week before they signed him, told him that part of the contract would be that he reach out to this kid and apologize. That's enabling by the court, by the Bruins, and even drafting him in the first place by the Coyotes. It's enabling, and this is part of the bully culture that we've kind of seen starting to be erased from society. Bullying and hazing. There are levels of it. This went too far, and one of the things that was in the Bruins letter, and that was said by Don Sweeney, in the press conference about Mitch Miller, was that this was, I don't think he said isolated event, but like a single event.
It was a singular occurrence.
Occurrence. The push pop in the urinal. It's like, no, this kid has been harassed and bullied and racially profiled his entire life, like Mike said, for things that he cannot control. And that's not a one-off. And another thing is, this kid isn't even that good. First of all, he was a 4th-round pick. So why now? Let's look at, I want to look at it from this standpoint, because Mike said it's a fireable offense. And there's 2 timelines we have to look at here. One is Mitch Miller's timeline of getting drafted, and then 2 years later, he's playing in the USHL, which is fine. It's an independent league. If those teams want to pick him up, they're not in the eye of the public on an everyday basis. There are people that we have said should never play a sport again that are playing in other countries and other leagues, and that's fine because we don't see them. So I guess, if what is it? Ignorance is bliss. But so we follow the timeline of Mitch Miller, where he gets let go before he even signs basically with the Coyotes, and he's playing in the USHL. And now 2 years later, the scout for the Bruins finds him, and the scout is catching heat. So he should probably catch some heat, but he has a duty of scouting a player, and a lot of times it is to scout the talent, what they see on the ice or on the field or on the court, whatever it is. And then there's other people whose due diligence it is to look at the person's background. That 100% falls on the guy that never should have received a contract extension in the first place, in Don Sweeney. And the only reason Don Sweeney got a contract was because he's buddy-buddy with Cam Neely, because they played together. So now we're looking at nepotism within the organization. And as much as there's an investigation going on the other side of that building into Ime Udoka and the Celtics, there should be one into Don Sweeney and these guys. And how do you make that bad of a mistake? And somebody the other day on one of the national radios compared him to, he said he was the NHL's Greg Hardy. And the host said, well, here's the difference. Greg Hardy was actually good at the sport he plays. And it's true. And this kid, the only reason anybody knows his name is because of the dog shit behavior he had when he was a kid. And listen, there is always stupid things that kids do. Like TPing a house.
Yeah, this isn't one of those.
That's harmless. This is so far beyond that. This is a kid that doesn't deserve to play at the highest level of the sport because of. And here's an example before I let Ray go, because I know Ray's got some thoughts too. When Mitch Miller's father was asked about this subject,
yeah,
he came out and said, well, Isaiah's not an angel either, were his words. Are you,
listen,
apple tree.
If you're raised by a knuckle dragger, you too will become a knuckle dragger.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what this moron is. And also, the one thing before Ray goes, sorry, because this really pissed me off. I know we're going to start with it. The whole notion that this was a mistake by Don Sweeney. If that were the case, then why did he himself go to Logan Airport to pick him up before the Prescott went to it?
Only to bring him to Providence.
Because he knew what a shitstorm this was going to be, because he knew what a shitty human being that this person was.
Didn't do his due diligence, didn't vet the kid that he was bringing in,
Or he
And
didn't.
He's made
Didn't care.
he's made negligible decisions in this franchise in the past, and this is the big fucking cherry on top. He doesn't deserve it to have a job at the Boston Bruins.
I mean, listen, there's not much I feel like I can add at this moment after what was just said. But I mean, listen, if you, as someone who is, I'm an educator, I couldn't imagine seeing a student of mine getting bullied, and then you're meeting with the parent of the person that's bullying them and saying, hey, your child's been doing X, Y, and Z. Is there anything going on with them? Like, what is going on? And you say, well, yeah, I mean, you're asking about him, but dude over there is not no saint. What? Like, honestly, that might have been the day I lost my job because at that moment I'm cussing you out. So like that's what's going on. This triggered me a little bit because it's someone who was a Metro kid going to an all white school. There was a few kids that tried it, when I went to the Daniel Butler. Shout out to the Butler. Kid remain nameless, but I remember, in the playground, kid has said something, but see, at that moment, I started watching wrestling, so I gave him a nice little, nice little body slam at that moment. Once again, he lived. That's why I can say it because he lived. So yeah, so I was okay, cool. But once again, I was able to defend myself. This young man, unfortunately, wasn't able to, and those are the long time listeners of the show. They know that I do security there. She guarded him. We had to take down the Fire Sweeney, shirt poster last night as they faced St. Louis. And, the patient was like, man, it only took y'all 2 periods to figure this out. I said, look, man, I don't disagree with what you have up here. I'm just doing my job to take it down. He was like, you know what? Not a problem. We took it. We laughed about it for a few minutes. And then we went our separate ways. But fans believe it's not every fan that's in agreement with this. Like, obviously they're going to root for the team because, we're a big market team. If we didn't know that, we're a big market team here in Boston. For those that didn't know that. And I just think that, yeah, it's time. And once again, just from the personnel standpoint, it was already time for Neely and Sweeney to go. Once again, obviously, we know how we felt about the chart thing and we talked about it. Obviously to bring it back at Tuca. I mean, I thought Mike was going to pull up to Sweeney's house and say, what the fuck are you doing when he brought Tuca back? I was waiting.
You don't know that he didn't.
Yeah. Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different things that we know about and don't know about that they've done. They have a benefit concert on Saturday. Without be there. It's for the Kennedy Foundation. I hope that it does not do well, and that sucks because I know it's for a good cause. But at the same time, it's like, yo, show him that he fucked up, and they said it. He was like, oh, well, I think it was either Cam or Don. I can't forget which.
It wasn't Don because he's too much of a pussy.
Cam was. He was like, oh, we felt that he came across contrite in the meeting we had with him. Really, like that. So that just because he came across contrite in the meeting right then and there, he deserved to get that second chance there. And once again, second chances do apply in certain circumstances. This is not one of them, especially at the pro level. Once again, like Joe said, if you want to play in the, I'm about to say USAA, Gronk's in my mind. What's up, Gronk? We're not USA, but USA, so whatever the hell it is, whatever independent league Joe brought up. If you want to play there because you're not in the limelight and you're just playing for the fun of it, and maybe you get picked up by a team over there in Europe, by all means, cool, whatever. But he should not get the privilege of playing in the National Hockey League. And to be honest, they get the privilege of playing here in a city like that. Once again, Phoenix Coyotes. Once again, I don't know about the situation with the arena. They got enough issues going on there between Robert Sarver, the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, so they believe me, they're not shy to this type of information either. But needless to say, they know they fucked up. But once again, I can't say they know they fucked up because they only succumb to the public pressure. And shout out to Shakari Wrights, who covers he doesn't cover the Brewers, but I know he's a big time Brewers fan. He does some work up in Providence, and he was on everyone's head from the beginning and kept tweeting and kept doing videos, and people kept tweeting and sharing it. So I appreciate him.
A long ass letter to the front office.
Right, yeah, exactly. So then applied pressure And once again, if anything, obviously we're not a part of the organization, but I'll say for me to the mom of Isaiah, because I teach a couple kids named Isaiah, so that also hit home too. We're sorry that you had to go through that and endure that again, because once again, there's no expiration date on trauma. So the
Right.
fact to say, and once again, and for those that are listening and say that, and Mike, this, but that's you didn't say it, but I'll say it. Listen, Craig wasn't trying to absolve him of anything. So before people get emotional in the fucking comments,
Well,
Craig
but
was over him of him being 14. No, I gotta say that shit because I feel like in this era of 2022, everyone gets like, oh, he was endorsing him. No, calm down. It's okay. It was a statement being made. It wasn't like he was saying, oh, no, it was only 14. Tough break. Can't
boys be
back.
boys.
That wasn't the intent. So just had to put that out there.
But also, like, the difference is between
just had to put that out there.
The difference is between what you just said and what just happened, where even if, on all the snowflakes in 2022 still blew up Craig's comments and still went after him, he can defend himself.
True. I know, but I want to defend him too.
Yeah. So do I. Like, that's one of the best parts about doing this game.
Right.
Nice.
The real, we can delete their comments.
The real problem here, it is this, like, there's two narratives happening in Boston right now. There are those that are adamant about what happened and say that it was a bad decision. Neely and Don Sweeney should fall on their sword. And again, Don Sweeney is too much of a pussy to do it. He backed out of an interview with Hockey Night in Canada and made Patrice Bergeron, who came back, who left the confines of his comfortable retirement home and came back to be on this team to answer questions about his general manager's dereliction of duty, because that's what this is. Listen, 2015, that was a fireable offense. That draft, you screwed up 3 back-to-back first-round picks. You should have been fired there. But then this wasn't a mistake. And the reason why I say that is because, to your point, Joe, and you backed him up, right? You say what you want about the Phoenix Coyotes. They relinquished his rights within seconds of hearing this news. So you have that, quote unquote, we can call whatever kind of organization that we want. And then the Boston Bruins are supposed to be, original 16 with pillar of the NHL. Hot start. You do this. It doesn't make any sense. It wasn't by accident. And I just, redemption, second chances, or something that you just mentioned. Redemption should be granted to you after you've earned it, after you have admitted your mistakes and you actually feel bad. Not sending a DM on Instagram and say, hey, bro, this isn't hockey related. Fuck you, it isn't. You want to prove that it isn't? Donate what your salary would be this year, which is about $890,000, to whatever charity you want. Go through all of the counseling that you need to go. Don't even think about playing hockey in any league for the next couple of years, and then ask for our forgiveness.
I don't want to make it more plain than how I'm about to make it sound, but this is where you go to schools, you go to groups and say, when I was 14 years old, I made a life-changing decision. If you think words don't matter, I am a living example of why words matter. It was actions I made. It was words that I said, and it came back to bite me once I became a pro. Do not make the decisions I made, because it now led me to not do what I love, which is to play a game of hockey. So it's like, I'm here to be a resource. I'm here to be an ally. Like, there's so many other ways you could go with that, you know? And it's just like, that, so it's really there on a silver platter to handle that. And like you said, to do that for a year or two, and then you get into saying, hey, you know what? I've been on this redemption tour, so to speak. I've kept myself in shape. I'm not only in shape physically, but I'm in shape mentally. I'm in shape, emotionally. I've gone to counseling. I've done my part, or my best, to reconcile with the family as well. Once again, don't need them to be best friends with me, but do understand that I was a young man that didn't do right by your son. Probably did. And it was wild. And probably not just him. He's just the one that got his name got put out there. It was more than Isaiah. When people do shit like that, it was definitely
You're right.
just that one kid. He was just someone that got highlighted because maybe he got the brunt of the bullying, but that's what it is.
Right. What you're saying is true. Every other person in that situation, the mother of the victim said that they came to their front door in tears, apologizing and asking for forgiveness years ago.
Wow.
Years ago. So listen, everyone deserves a shot at redemption. There's a reason why people in media in around the country look at Michael Vick the way that they do now, because he committed a heinous crime. He served his time, and he came back. And there's nothing more that we like in this country than to tear people down and build them back up. And he literally paid his dues and came back. That's why people in this country hate Ben Roethlisberger, because he may or may not have allegedly sexually assaulted 2 women, and he never offered any sort of contrition for it. So you have 2 parallels. This guy did it. I'm not even going to call him a kid. He targeted someone that he thought was beneath him, less than him, and did not care about the ramifications, and only reached out when it could have affected his wallet. So I don't want to speak for everybody else here, but I don't care if he ever gets to see the light of day again in any sort of professional hockey league. And I don't know that Gary Bettman will allow it.
No, he already said he's not playing in the NHL.
Well, he said he's not eligible now, and I don't know when he would be eligible.
Ever?
Yeah, that sounds like never to me.
Right.
Now, and just I want to just put a cherry on top of this thing from a Boston perspective as a city, because here's a team in a city that has been that has had issues with race, and it's been the Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Red Sox. We've seen Major League Baseball players say they would never. Black Major League Baseball players said that they would never play in this city. The Bruins just now, in the last few years, honored Willie O'Ree. They have an issue with race here that has transcended sports, and that's a problem. I mean, we saw it in the 70s in this city, and it is continued. There is a racial issue in Boston, and a lot of people don't see that, and a lot of people don't agree with that, but there is. I mean, Ray's in Boston, and Ray's a black man in Boston. I don't know if you guys knew. Ray's black.
Whoa.
Ray's black. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Mike. I
strike for the tape.
I know with those blue light glasses on, it might be hard to.
Well,
and then
all of us got glasses, so we better be able to see something.
and then not only that, one of the biggest partners of the Boston Bruins is Special Olympics Massachusetts. So you're telling me they made the decision, Ray? They made the decision to hand an entry-level contract to a kid who was relentlessly bullying a black handicapped child who could not defend himself in the city of Boston. They were going to offer it blows my mind. And I didn't realize Don Sweeney had Patrice Bergeron go on for that.
I didn't know
that's
that.
reprehensible as well.
Also, just to cover your ass joke, because I don't know what's allowed to be said anymore. What he meant was disabled. Okay, just in case handicapped is a banned word in 2022. I don't know what words are banned anymore. But I think they're from the French.
Sure,
he's not able-bodied. Okay,
okay, right. Yes. Sorry, heat of the moment, not able-bodied.
The whole thing that bothers me is the Bruins front office think we were stupid because when this came out
right, they do.
Greg, all of those millionaire owners and GMs, they all think we're stupid. Look at the Fenway Sports Group. Look at the Kraft family. Look at all the wool that they're pulling over our eyes. I mean, we're not dumb. Some people are. Because there's some people out there that defended the signing of Mitch Miller. So there's some people that are falling for this crap.
When this came out on Friday, I like to think that they thought that, all right, we'll put out the thing there, maybe it won't blow up. Immediately did. And it took Boston sports media, I don't know, 20 minutes to get everything on. It's just, and then they come out with that statement on Sunday when they release him, like, you know what? We found out that thing that happened back then. We found some more things. Things that Boston sports media found out in like 20 minutes.
Man,
So,
right.
So
what?
was there?
Pretty guess like we're not gonna look into it.
Yeah, just Google it. Just
Right.
just Google it now. And I will say, and this doesn't absolve him because I think he has a lot to blame. I watched Neely's press conference, even though Nesson refused to air it live. Bruins.com didn't air it live. It's weird that they didn't do that. And he looked awful. He looked remorseful. I truly think Neely is a good guy just because of everything he's done for cancer research in the Neely House, right? If your subordinate says, hey, we're going to sign this guy, and you ask him, did you do your due diligence? And he says yes, you still have to check him. You have to do it. And aside from that, does anyone else here on this little show of ours think that this move would have happened if they were 1 or 2-11 and not 11-2? Would they try to make such a bold statement if they were a terrible hockey team? Or did they think this would just be swept under the rug because everything was going well?
I think
it definitely would have got swept under the rug. But this is my thing, and Bobby don't cuz when you hear me make this statement, but it's like, yo, don't be attention seeking like that team down in Dallas. You don't need anything added to what was going on. And once again, they've been blowing through the league already. Like Taylor Hall is playing great. Craig Smith's playing great. Fuliano's playing great. Colin Coyle. Like everyone that has played for them this year has been awesome. Especially going to it. Might let us off with that, giving us those facts. So why not let that be the narrative and say, hey, we are not only looking for the President's Cup, we're coming for Lord Stanley too. And it don't matter who's in our way. It's time. So it's just like, we're into revenge what happened in 2019 and 2013. That's what should be the narrative. I was about to say Bush Cassidy, Lord. Bush Cassidy. And the new Sundance kids are going to work. Let them be the story. Not you signing some somebody that was out here. Yeah, I'm gonna say something wild, but not to sign somebody that wasn't worthy of being on the team. I want to stay on the air, but it's just like, that's the thing. So I'm like, I don't know, man. It's something where I do hope that the Jacobs family does the right thing eventually and says, you know what, you're no longer, what do they say when it doesn't look like me? You're relieved of your duties. That's what I want to hear. You're relieved of your duties, or we mutually agreed to part ways. So whatever verbiage you want to use, but by the end of this month, we should be saying, hey, we're looking for new management here and in Boston.
Right.
That's
so
not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, so
you said not going to happen.
For our little holiday wish, Don Sweeney, from us to you, I wish you no luck in your future endeavors, but get the fuck out of the front office of the Bruins.
Yep. You think it's gonna happen though?
It needs
right away.
Now, so what's your timeline, Joe? What do you give a prediction? You give a prediction. What
I don't
do you
know.
think?
They're buddies. What do you think is going to happen? I mean,
but at some point, they clearly, like I said, the court of public opinion got on their ass quick. So obviously they are under fire. But my thing is, if you're the Jacobs family, right? At some point you have to say, yo, I got a business to run. Y'all fucking shut up. It's time. Y'all got to go.
Let me ask you a question, right? You worked the Bruins game yesterday, right?
Yep.
Was it full?
Yeah.
And the Jacobs family ain't going to do anything about it.
Right, but I mean, listen, it's the same thing for the Celtics games. Like, and once again, this city as a whole, we talked about it earlier this year with the Red Sox too. Because of how we are as a fan base, we could be, well, I'll just use basketball and hockey kids. I know they both play 82 games. They could be 36 and 46. People going to show up to they love seeing it that much. They going to show up 41 times a year. They just are. But I do think, once again, I had to take down the poster of someone saying fire Sweeney. So folks were hot. Folks were upset. Could even coming to the turnstile, people saying, man, that guy got to go. So fans, the people there last night for that St. Louis game, they was in tune. They was like, yo, like the regime here has to go. The team is really good, but it's like, yo, like they got to figure something out. So, um, to me, they should be gone by February. That's just how I see it. It shouldn't be something
Well,
they just go to June and you should go to the finals. They don't deserve to see the success of this team the rest of the year, whether they put together the team or not. And I put that at foundation because you lucked into Bergeron coming back, you lucked into Krejci coming back, you lucked in. I think Taylor Hall had to come back too. So you lucked in to get Taylor Hall back as well. Obviously, Marche was out for the first few games and he was recovering from injury, but it's just like, okay, like and is every variable that you have right now going to stay the way it is? Because if so, once again, they're going real far. And once again, the way this team can score. The defense has been great. This team can score with anybody in the National Hockey League. And I've said this for years. Listen, you're listening to somebody that's not the biggest hockey fan, but I at least know this. They have had the best first line in hockey for a number of years. Maybe it's not an Edmonton because I know Connor McDavid is by himself as a fucking monster. I get it. But collectively, Marchand, Pastrnak, and Bergeron, like, that's been the best line in hockey at least the last 4 or 5 years. Once again, I don't have the numbers to back it up, but at the end of the day, when you're winning awards, when you're going to Stanley Cups, like, those guys have just been nothing short of sensational collectively. So, hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's time for Don Sweeney to go. I mean, I understand what you said about Cam Neely, Mike, but at this point, I'm on a fire Sweeney bandwagon. And if it takes all of our listeners to say and do something and tweet something out, hashtag fire Sweeney, let's get it going. Because I'm in. This was reprehensible for him to do this. They are the best team in the National Hockey League right now. And you can find somebody else that won't screw up drafts like Don Sweeney to come in and put a team together and actually have some youth, because there's really not a lot of youth. I mean, I even conceded that Dombrowski brought in youth to the Boston Red Sox farm system a couple weeks ago. But Don Sweeney has not done that. He has not built a farm system. He's spending the money to bring guys in, but it doesn't last forever. And there's multiple reasons why he should go. He never should have signed never should have been offered an extension. He signed it. He's here. He shouldn't be.
No, but I don't blame him for that though, Joe, completely, entirely. Only reason I say that, and only because it came out through national media that mentally it was the players. All the young players were tripping that, Bruce Cassidy wasn't really, he wasn't coaching them well, and he was always putting them down. So yeah, it's like, okay, why would you focus on bringing in those type of guys that are young when you had a coach there that wasn't looking to nurture the young players? Like, and Mike's gonna love this analogy here. Bruce Cassidy really was the Doc Rivers of the NFL. I mean, NFL of the NHL. Doesn't want no one but veterans. Can't stand playing young players. Will not nurture them at all. So that's basically what was happening, and it happened. And of course, they're fucking killing it over there in Vegas. Phil Kessel. Oh, wish we had a guy like that. Oh, we did, and we let him go. Great. So, and kudos to him too for getting the all-time. Or not, well, he's the Cal of the NHL. I know he had most games played in a row, whatever. That was dope to see. But yeah, I can't wait. I think it's December 5th he comes back. So that build is going to be rocking. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's that. But I don't put that all on Sweeney, Joe. I just think that, like I said, when you don't have a coach that was really willing to nurture the young players, there's no need to have guys in Providence because they're not going to see the ice.
Yeah, I know, but it still is due diligence to
sure
and have some. Don't let everybody else develop your players, basically.
Craig, before you go, I'm just to say this. I promise this is the last thing I want to say about the Bruins, unless you say something that pisses me off. 2015 draft was a dereliction of your duties as a GM.
Yep.
What you did within the last 4 to 5 days was your dereliction of duty to your moral obligation as a human. You just don't do that. You don't put someone in that locker room that targeted someone based on the color of their skin and based on a disability that they could not control. And that's what you did. Now you're making the veterans of this team answer for it. You should be gone. But unfortunately, I don't think you will be, because it doesn't look It does not look like the Patriots will be hosting a parade here in February, so you can't fire someone on that day. And we're just going to have to pray the Celtics get to the finals, because that's the only other time that the Bruins will make a move is when they can put it on a good news day and fucking bury it. Like, something different, get this guy out, and let's just move on, because this team is worth hitching your wagons to.
Let me play devil's advocate and then hopefully we can talk about something good about this team, because they actually are the best team in the NHL right now.
Right.
My thing is, I think that they tried to squeeze us in under the radar, try to make it as unnoticeable as possible, just to hide the fact that they needed to bring talent because they just can't develop their own.
What do you mean, David Pastrnak?
Besides him, they haven't done it in a long time. And I know Charlie
McAvoy. They're developing
Charlie McAvoy,
guys, but it's not going to make a difference. A fourth round.
This is the last run of this current team that we have right now. It's going to be gone. They have the players.
They said that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
A fourth round pick from 2 years ago is not going to come in and give you what you need. There's plenty of players on the defensive end of the ice that you could have gone out and brought in. They brought this kid in on an entry-level contract. I do think there's some merit in what Craig is saying in that they tried to do this under the radar. I think to say that it was because they were trying to bring in talent because they can't develop their own, I think that's a stretch. But I see what you mean, but not a fourth round pick 2 years ago when they knew what this guy. I mean, they can go find somebody else in one of these other leagues, or somebody who's sitting at home on the couch. I mean, Billy Bean brought in Scott Hatteberg, for God's sakes. But the Bruins want to bring in Mitch Miller? Come on.
This wasn't the second coming of Zdeno Chara. I mean, he isn't that. He's not Bobby fucking Orr. This guy was nothing. And you risked all of the good mojo that you have going on by doing this.
He wasn't even Sean Thornton.
No, right.
Not Sean Thornton, not Sergei Sesano. You name it, PJ Stock, you name it. He wasn't any of those guys. He wasn't. But I see Joe looking. I'm not gonna go down the archive. I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole, Joe.
No. I'm actually bringing.
I'm not gonna go into the archive. He's not any of those guys.
I already Googled the worst NHL defenseman of all time, and I didn't recognize the name, Joe. That's not because that's a comparison I was going to make.
Mitchell Miller. Oh yeah, look at that. He's the worst.
Craig, you have any other devil's advocates that you want to play on this matter?
I just wish that we didn't have to talk about this thing, because because for the last week and a half I've been wanting to on this show, because we haven't talked about them yet this season. I was really hoping, all right, this is going to be a week where we finally talk about the Bruins. I thought about this last week after we did last week's show. I was like, all right, knowing that the Bruins have what they have and are where they are right now, let's do them. We haven't talked about them yet. Let's hype them up. Then this shit happens on Friday and just ruins everything for me. And yeah, it gives us stuff to talk about because we're talk podcasts and stuff like that. I said radio. It's not radio. It just really ruins my mood, because I really just wanted to talk about them for in earnest, solid 30, 45. Said
like you want to sit here and talk about Linus Ullmark being 9-1 with a 2.05 goals against per game, or already I think, what does he have? Is it 4? He's 4-0 in shootouts. Yeah. I mean, this guy is playing.
I wish he wasn't, though.
Which sucks, because Don Sweeney signed him, right? And everyone said that this was a bad stopgap pick, and this guy's played out of his fucking mind.
Right.
I wanted to talk about Brad Marchand coming back a month early. Being the rat that he is, just come back, scoring 2 goals, almost a hat trick in this game back. But yet, here we are talking about Mitchell Miller. So great. Thanks, Don.
In all fairness, you're leading the show and you set the topic.
I'll tell you what. You know what I think we should do? I think we should take a break and move on to our other heated topic.
Yeah, let's talk really positively about the Patriots, please.
Yeah, let's go talk positively about the Patriots.
Or we can talk about the Red Sox, and now Xander Bogaerts officially free agent. That's great too.
No. End the show right now.
Before we get into the Patriots, I will give. And I feel like I always do this whenever we talk. We're not going to talk basketball obviously tonight, but since I had a mini rant and Joe had to calm me down on Twitter, the Celtics are on a 3-game winning streak.
Hey, I'm taking credit for that. I'm taking credit for it. You know what? It's so funny. I was listening to the radio the other night, not headlines on that one sports radio station we all listen to. They mentioned the record, and I was like, "Oh, look at that! Right, 7-3, huh? Weird.
Yeah,
Just like yay basketball.
Yay basketball, and let's just chalk that up as another win for me in the sports world. In basketball again. Weird.
That's right.
Greg, let's take a break and we'll come back and talk about Patriots.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll talk about the Patriots at the halfway mark, see where we're at, see how the MVP Nick Folk is doing, do some second half projections here. So we're going to talk about some Patriots now, and I was not really looking forward to that game on Sunday because I knew what was going to happen. So I actually spent my Sunday at Fenway Park doing Topgolf. And Joe, I know I've mentioned to you before, I'm not really a golf person. I get it now. I understand it. So that was actually really fun. If anyone out there got to do that, I drop a picture of it below. I'd love to see it. I was really disappointed with that, though, because I really wanted to go out to Fenway Park and just take 9 irons and just smack into Fenway Park, but you only had like 9 iron and wedges, so I was kind of disappointed. But
I still bet no matter what, on your worst swing, you hit the ball at least 350 feet further than Mac Jones ever threw it on Sunday. So it was mission accomplished. The only thing that was running through my mind this entire game, and it's Ray's fault, is last week when I think it was 3 of us on the show, 4 of us on the show. Ray said they can't move the ball. They can't.
They can't.
That was true again on
because
Sunday.
Max tipping his pitches.
Yeah, Bill was out today saying that basically the linebacker for Indianapolis is like, we heard him basically in the huddle saying what the play was going to be. They knocked that down all day. I think that was Mac's worst game of the year that he had on Sunday, even though he didn't throw any interceptions. His first time this season, he hasn't thrown a pick.
Thanks, Lance Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Tipping his pitches. Tip this, bro. Like if he's tipping everything, then why did he still go 20 of 30? All right, like do your fucking job. Shut up.
Well, you can get a lot of those passes when you're just throwing screen passes out the back.
What do you think? That's all I'm gonna say.
$147, Craig. $147. $147. Well,
I mean, in
that.
fairness, it was a very defensive game. I mean, the defense won that game for the Patriots without a doubt. I mean, Ramondre, our boy Ramondre, had a touchdown. The Patriots offense put Nick Folk in good position to kick his 4 field goals. The defense did their job all day. 9 sacks, 3 of them from Judon. I mean, they did their job. They did what they were supposed to on defense, trying to make Mac look good. Mac
should have been 4, by the way.
What's that?
Should have been 4.
Should have been 4. He should have had at least 3.5, but they didn't count. I would have, but that's another story for another day. The defense did their job. Special teams did their job. Marcus Jones has been doing a phenomenal job as punt returner for this team. Of course, we know what the kicker did. We finally saw, again, like a small glimpse of what Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith can do. If he is tipping his pitches, Mike, sure, 20 passes, great, 20 of 30. I mean, that's awesome. But $147. $147. Ray's right. I mean, we don't need this guy to light the world on fire. But I mean, as we sit here, we're also talking about a guy who was game planned to throw 3 passes against Buffalo last season. Now, granted, I understand that they were playing in a tornado up in Buffalo, Orchard Park, if you will. I get that. But when you're game planning games like that, like 100%, Ray, $147 was the game plan on Sunday. He knew he didn't need Mac to throw for 300 yards. And
you know how I feel about that.
I understand, but he knew he didn't. And let me finish the thought, because I agree with you, but I'm also going to play devil's advocate here. He knew that he didn't need Mac to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, because one, that Colts offense was abysmal when they actually have a lot of weapons on that offense. They're down to their third string running back because they traded away Naheem Hines and they didn't have Jonathan Taylor. And Deion Jackson is a damn good running back.
Yep.
And they still didn't use him right on Sunday. I mean, Paris Campbell was the best receiver on that team on Sunday because Michael Pittman Jr. was basically shut down all day by whoever was on him. I saw Jack Jones over there. Jack Jones is just incredible, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid is outstanding. So the defense did their job with a team that had no offensive coordinator, and now we know a coach that was out the door anyway, which is hilarious because their general manager sucks as well. Like, that Colts football team is not a bad football team on paper, on paper. And Bill knew the Patriots knew what they had coming in there Sunday and knew that they were going to be able to drop 25, 30 points on this team and hold them to nearly nothing. I mean, they barely got over the 50-yard line, so they didn't need them to throw for 300 yards. However, that's not how it's going to be every week. But now they're going into a bye week, Ray. And let me see if you agree with this, because I'm gonna throw a theory out at you. Because Mac hasn't been playing well.
Right.
He's apparently tipping his pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Bill is known for, I don't want to say making excuses, setting up the pins to knock him down in the way that he wants to. What do you think the odds of Bailey Zappi being the starting quarterback against the Jets on November 20th are? I think they're really high.
Right now, I would say 60-40.
I'd go 75-25.
Yeah, 60. So, but I want to add on to what you just said about, obviously with the game planning. I mean, once again, you and I had talked about that Bills thing because I think you and I was on the show together about that. But and I was pissed about that at the time because I was like, man, like you got to show something. My thing is, to me, the opponent doesn't matter to me. You got to find confidence in this offense. I don't care if it's this version of the Colts. I don't care if it's the 2000 Ravens. Like, it doesn't matter. You got to figure out how to move the ball consistently. And once again, just like the week before when the running game wasn't crazy, it's like, yo, you got to figure out a way to get the ball moving. So whether it's running the seam routes, whether it's running more screens, like whatever you can do to get that in there. Getting Tyquan Thornton involved more, like I remember like that Cleveland game. It's like you showed what you could do in the Cleveland game, and you never fucking go back to it. So I'm like, I don't understand
is that
where the week to week, and Matt Patricia really is. He should get a T-shirt saying, and sorry, I'm holding up our logo, but it should say, "I am Jekyll," and on the back, and then Hyde, because he plays, he's up and down. Like
how much of that? Let me ask you a question.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's out of control.
How much of that is game planning, and how much of that is the ineptitude of the quarterback?
Stop. No, stop.
Mike, we are going to do this.
Doing that.
He is because he's I'm getting on this bandwagon starting last week. I don't care if he's a 15th overall pick.
You said
can the kid play in the NFL?
Yes.
I think
Just
so.
who?
Says him last year when he was a Pro Bowler.
He was a Pro Bowler because the three guys in front of him dropped.
Doesn't matter.
Technicalities, typical, Ray.
Do you think, is Mac Jones better or worse than he was last year?
Worse.
A lot worse.
Is the offensive line better or worse than it was last year?
Not much different.
Stop.
Not much different.
So Skarnicki not being there hasn't affected them at all?
Oh, great. Well, you want to play that game. Josh McDaniels not being there isn't affecting him at all?
No, it has affected him tremendously. When you have 2 out of the 3 stooges there that are responsible for the offense, listen, he's not playing great.
Other people can coach offensive lines. It doesn't need to be Dante Skarnicki.
Nobody's coaching this offensive line. And also David Andrews and Isaiah Wynn being out, which, by the way, I think Isaiah Wynn should be out in the game. David Andrews being out.
Actually, no. Wynn was in this week, and Wynn played left. He played left guard, and he actually played pretty well at left guard.
He was benched to start with, and then he took over when Cole Strain got benched.
Great. So this is what we're doing. We're just but Mike, then we can both agree that this is ineptitude of the coaching staff and the general manager.
Yes. Oh yeah. I've been on that bandwagon for 12 years.
Right. I understand. But so they are putting Mac Jones. I believe they're putting Mac Jones not in a position to fail, but they're putting him in a position with an offense that they think he can run that he can't. Because when we do see Zappy, I said it last week, I'll say it until I hear something different from maybe Karen, Craig.
Mhm.
We see a totally different offense when Zappy gets out there, and it's a completely different energy.
It's not true, though.
Why?
It's
No,
not
it is
true.
true.
How did Zappy do?
That is true.
But, is it? Yeah. How
No,
did
no,
he
no,
do?
no. I'm gonna answer. When he came in that Chicago game, yes, I know they ended up getting blown out. Yes, we know they got smacked. When Matt came in here, went 3 of 6 for 13 yards to a fucking pick. The moment Ford went on that field, the moment he went on there, defense started playing better in the moment.
Yeah.
Once again, the ball was moving. We seen it against Cleveland, where Cleveland's a pretty good defense. Like, so he threw for 300 yards. Like, we've seen him show flashes. I just think, to me, I don't care if it looks more simplistic. Maybe you need to dumb it down for Mac Patricia too. Maybe that's why Zappy needs to be in there. So Mac Patricia, he don't even fucking think. He don't even think on the field. Just hey, dump it here, run a reverse here, throw a go route to Devontae Parker, and just leave him at that. Because what I'm seeing right now on this there, it's either it's 38 or nothing else. Once again, I love Stevenson, but it shouldn't just be him.
Right.
Go ahead. Take it from there.
How did Bailey Zappi do in the second half versus Chicago?
The same that Mac Jones would have did. The same.
Oh.
Belichick was outcoached. Eberflus outcoached him.
Oh.
They were outcoached and
Bailey
outplayed.
Zappi gives you the same performance as Mac Jones. Belichick was outcoached.
No, it was
Mac
terrible.
Jones
It was a
does
terrible performance by Bailey Zappi based on the plays that were called. Because we still have a defense coach.
Then leave it there. Then that's it. Just leave it there. And it was a terrible performance by Mac Jones based on the
Mike. If you are walking in your house and you have a light bulb flickering,
yeah,
the light bulb's flickering. It's not really, and then it stops flickering. But then, like 5 minutes later, it starts flickering again. Are you going to change that light bulb, or are you just going to hope that at some point it starts working? But you have a perfectly good light bulb in your utility closet.
I don't know.
It's fine.
I don't know that Mac Jones. I don't know that Bailey Zappi is a perfectly light bulb.
But how do you know until you plug it in? When you have the option there, why not use it?
Because I saw the momentum swing in his favor, and then he did nothing to keep it. He did exactly what
Mac's done nothing to take it back.
What's the team record since he came back as a starter? Is it 2-1?
Is it 2-1? What's Bailey Zappi's record as a quarterback in the NFL? 2-1.
No. He didn't get the loss for the Green Bay. He didn't start.
No, but and he didn't get the loss. He didn't get the loss against Chicago, so he's 2-0. All right,
2-0.
cool.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. So
all right, that'll do it for us here at 617.
But I would just say, like, listen, I don't think I think Mac has regressed so much so that it's very concerning. And I agree with that. But I think a telltale sign that the offensive line was not doing their job was the fact that even Ramondre Stevenson couldn't break it off for more than a 16-yard run.
Agreed. Absolutely.
And because he can make people miss. He just needs to get to the second level. And that line did not do him any justice. Now, I think if you ever saw a game where Stevenson rushed 15 times for 115 yards and Mac went 20 of 30 for 147, okay, that's all Mac. But if you look at just that stat sheet, they didn't have any time. Nobody had any time. And yes, your defense, we stood up. I get it. I think it's it's not a good thing when your only scoring drive on offense comes from when you started at the 2-yard line and you still threw a 6-yard touchdown. That means you went fucking backwards. Like, that's not right. That's not great. It's not a great sign. But you're lucky. You are lucky that Jim Irsay, who is ridding the league of Daniel Snyder and the commander of Washington, which is great. You're just so lucky that he doesn't want to be on the hook for Matt Ryan's contract next year, that he benched him, started Sam Ehlinger, made whoever fire the offensive coordinator so that Jeff Saturday could come in. That you had the perfect situation with Frank.
That's also fucking wild.
Because he couldn't do anything. I mean, what do you want him to do? What you can't do anything. So this is the perfect opponent. I think anyone that's excited that the Patriots are 5-4. I don't want to like really sour you, but you should be a little bit deflated. Something that we're used to here, because you should be 6-3 at least.
That Green Bay loss looks worse by the week, in my opinion.
At least.
And Green Bay fucking sucks. So that Green Bay loss looks worse by the week. Billy Zappi, believe it or not, did enough in that game to win, and he showed us take it out of his hands. So that's coaching at that moment. It's coaching. It's not the player. It's coaching.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You had a chance to win that game, and you was like, we'll play for overtime, and next thing you know, now you're going home. You should be 6-3 going bye week, which that looked a lot different, being potentially 7-3 by the time you face Minnesota on Thanksgiving Day. So,
And I'm just glad they have the Jets here in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Instead of down there again. I think Robert Saleh is going to be pissed. That Jets team is pretty good. They just beat Buffalo on Sunday.
mhm.
And I still think they're pretty good. I don't think they're there yet, but they're good and they're well coached and they're fired up. And he's letting his kids play.
Right.
That's another difference, is he's letting the kids play. Where we're seeing a very different trend here in New England with Bill not allowing, it doesn't matter which quarterback is in there, he's not allowing either one of them to let it fly and play the position on the field that they're playing, because Bill doesn't value the quarterback position.
Right. But you know who the Jets are, Joe and Mike and Craig? They're the 2017 Jaguars.
Yeah.
Right? They had been bad for a few years before.
What's a better quarterback?
I mean, Blake Bortles, really? Really? Exactly.
You know,
I think
Blake
so.
Bortles made $45 million in his career.
Yeah,
I think
cool. I mean, hey, shout out to the agent. They're gonna do it. shout out to the agent. He was supposed to be Roethlisberger 2.0, and he really became to be 0.2. But it's okay. Cool. They're
allegedly.
Jacks.
Didn't sexually assault anybody.
So allegedly.
Yeah. I meant on the field. But anyways, I just Ramsey and Sauce Gardner, and then you got the guys.
He's so good.
He's so good. So it's just, I just think, to me, and obviously now they have James Robinson, obviously, because they made the trade when Bruce Hall went down. So that's what they can be. I'm not saying they're going to get to the AFC Championship game. Obviously, I think that's a stretch right now, but like I said, they're my prediction on them right now is holding true, and yeah, we are closer to them because we're a game out, and I look forward to hopefully going 2-0 against them, come November 20th. So that's just what it is. But we talked about this on the group chat. I mean, I'll just bring it to us since it's already there. Where are we at? I mean, are we cool if we brought in Frank Reich to be?
Yes.
Yes, without a doubt. But see, here's the thing, and Mike and I talked about it. Mike, you can go so far as not naming him coordinator.
Right.
But I think this is what I don't understand about Patricia and Judge. Is there something in there that they can't be a defensive coach or a special teams coach? That they can't work on. So, like, is Frank Reich, let's just say, which I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just say he gets brought in. Like, is he all of a sudden going to become like a special teams assistant? Like, this is this crap that I don't like. Pay the damn coaches, put them in the right spots, and let's get this crap over with. You want to bring in Frank Reich? I think Frank Reich is a really good coach. And Mike, you kind of alluded to it before. He was screwed by Jim Irsay. And the GM there, and I can't even, it's not Ryan Griggs anymore.
But it was for a while, yeah.
Screwed royally. You said it, Mike. I mean, they bring in with a fourth year coach. Andrew Luck retires, and then they transition to Phillip Rivers, and then he leaves, and they go, well, let's go get another old quarterback who's middling and might be able to help us. And they go get Matt Ryan, and then with Nick Foles on the bench, they start Sam Ellinger. And then fire him. That's a problem. There's a problem. And a lot of people, and Ray, I don't know how you feel about this, but a lot of people have an issue with them naming Jeff Saturday the interim head coach. A lot of people.
I'll answer for you.
A lot of people have an issue with it because they see it as a slight against more qualified black coaches. White guy here, I personally don't see it that way, and here's why. To me, they're in a shitty situation as an organization, and
Chris White.
they're trying. Yeah, I know, Mike. You know what? You really need to pay more attention. And all they're doing is trying to get through this season and start over. Which is mind blowing to me because you had the guy in Frank Reich, and you didn't give him the keys because you let the GM run the show. This is nepotism. But I don't think it's nepotism in the sense that if they brought somebody in there, right? Let's say they brought Jim Caldwell in. Ooh, blast from the past. He's not being put in a position to succeed with the roster that they currently have. Even though I think it's good on paper, the Colts are not in a position to succeed. So why hand the keys over to a minority head coach who may be qualified when he's just going to fail anyway, and not his own problem, not his issue. It's an organizational issue. So, yep, hand the keys to Jeff Saturday, the offensive lineman that's been around for 20 years. Let him fail the rest of the season because no skin off his back, and then go out and start over with a new head coach.
Yeah, I mean, they may not win another game, with him being there. Listen, Jeff Saturday was a hell of a center. Obviously, was running made for a long time, and so I think ended his career in Green Bay, playing over there with Aaron Rodgers. So a hell of a career. But yeah, it came out of left field. And my thing is, even if you have the rapport with Jim Irsay, I'd be like, bro, there's no way I'm coming in to coach this roster right now. Now, if you want me to come into our season after you fire Frank, and then we get into the program, we go through the draft thing and see who we want to draft.
That's what I'm saying. That's why
that's different. But I'm not. I didn't like. I'm not leaving this gig at ESPN to come over here and we lose every game, and people looking at me like I'm crazy at Lucas Oil Stadium. So I don't know. I mean, my guy Jerry, I know you're a Colts fan. So when you see this, you listen to this, bro. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. But yeah, honestly, I'm with you, Joe. I'm glad it wasn't a black man that was put in there, because it'd be like, you told you so couldn't coach, and he's not this, he's not that, and he was supposed to be a defensive guru, he was supposed to be an offensive mastermind. It's cool. Let
it doesn't matter. It's week 10, baby. It doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's cool. So they're not going to win the game this season. So Jerry and some others I know that are Colts fans. Let it go. I feel bad for Gilmore because I'm like, he's a hell of a player. He's on the trash that team now. So I get it.
I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah,
they paid him.
Right, they paid him, but I'm just like, I guess you already won, and so on and so forth. But I just, to me,
hey, he did have an opportunity to stay here.
He should have never left.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't happen very. It doesn't happen very often that in New England you get paid and you win a championship. It's either like one of the two things happen. He's one of the unique instances where both happens.
Wait, Mike,
what a concept. Before Craig moves us on, because it looks like he's about to. The two things that I want to just say is, listen, you want to get up with Jeff Saturday as your coach. That's great. I get it. Irsay was just trolling through his phone one night. It was probably mixed some of his prescription medicine with a couple of alcoholic beverages. He goes, "Oh yeah, I know Jeff called in." You have John Fox on your staff.
He's been a special assistant though. Jeff Saturday has been a
but he can take the heat. John Fox can take the. He's wasn't coaching.
This is what I'm saying. He doesn't want somebody that's going to take the heat. I actually, the more I think about this, as insane as Jim Irsay is, I actually think he's completely right here doing this.
So if Jeff Saturday had ever wanted to be taken seriously as a coaching candidate in the NFL,
he doesn't.
That it makes the most sense for him.
He's never coached. He's never come back and coached. He's coached at the high school level. He doesn't want to coach.
He's all cowboy. He's all cowboy.
Why say this? That. I mean, from that standpoint, Joe, that I'm saying, I'm not doing that. Like, you're not. Once again, I'm not leaving the comforts of the 4-letter network. When I know the checks coming in, we got good ratings. I may do a segment a week, and I'm getting broke off to come in there to have players look at me like, well, yeah, you play with Peyton Manning, but it's a new era, or you did this with Tony Dungy, but X, Y, Z. Like, these new players are different than the players that he came in with. Are you going to be able to relate to them? Yeah,
In 9
you know,
weeks, Rick.
maybe not.
In
Can he
9
be a leader of
weeks.
men?
In 9 weeks, he's going to be relieved of his duties. He's going to go back to the 4-letter network. He's still going to get paid by them during this time because something's been worked out. This didn't just happen overnight. The Colts are going to go out and they're going to hire the head coach that they want, whether he be black, brown, green, yellow, or white. And they're going to go,
Listen,
that season's over with. We're moving on.
If he
I
was smart,
understand.
he would go after Brian Flores.
Yeah,
That's
I understand the need. I mean, I understand from a business perspective the Matt Ryan thing. If Matt Ryan gets injured this year, his next year's salary is guaranteed. Fine, sit him. You have maybe if you're lucky, 5 more years of peak Jonathan Taylor. Don't waste this.
Maybe.
Like running backs in the NFL, there are a few that are as elite as him as he was last year for 5 or 6 years.
This is kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
And all you are doing right now is you're just screwing with it. Yeah. So listen, if Jeff Saturday doesn't care, whatever. Good for him. He's going to make some more money to get back on.
I don't think that he doesn't care. It's not that this isn't that he doesn't care. This is him coming in and doing a favor for Daddy Irsay because he's going to pay him. He's still going to get paid by the 4-letter network. He's going to come in. He's coached at the high school level. I'm not telling you this isn't a moment where Dave's going to be like, oh, here goes Joe selling us a mediocre coach. Nope, because Ray's right. They ain't going to win a game the rest of the season. But this is going to give them time to go out, recruit and scout the best guy for the job, do some interviews, and bring him in at the end of the year. Because
how do you?
That's fine.
Not to get off on
right now.
Not to get off on this tangent, because I know that this is, we're talking about the team that the Patriots just beat last Sunday. How do you go out and honestly improve your abilities to recruit talent when you hire Jeff Saturday, for all intents and purposes? Yeah, he's a personality. That's all he's ever been instead of a player. He's never been a coach. He's just a personality. How do you go out and recruit talent and say, we're going to pay you to come here, we're going to draft well, when you just signed a former MVP of this league? And he wasn't doing great. He was actually doing pretty bad. But you've benched him for the remainder of the year because you know you'll be on the hook for his salary next year if he gets hurt. How do you gain confidence of any of the individuals in that locker room or any prospective talent that's going to come here by doing those things?
Imagine signing a former MVP quarterback and him coming in and sucking. Imagine that happening. I would not want to be a fan of a franchise.
I mean, we won
former MVP.
We won,
and he had
can't pass for more yards, and we won 7 games. Longer to say.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, that's called ball game.
But hey, we had a top 5 run offense though.
Sure did.
So we're officially quote unquote halfway through the season now. Patriots on a bye this week. Let's go ahead and take a little crystal ball look into the future, taking a look at the current playoff standings as they stand right now. 1 through 7 right now: Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Tennessee, Jets, Miami, and Los Angeles, and Patriots right on the bubble at 5 and 4 in the 8th seed right now. It's entirely possible that the entire AFC East makes the playoffs this year. That's how competitive.
Besides the Patriots.
It's possible they may. I'm not saying they're going to win. They can make it though. So, I look at I'm really how the AFC East is going to turn out this year because, we all look at the Bills. We know the Bills. We know what they are. Josh Allen is now hurt. We're going to see if he's going to be out for a while or not, if he's going to be back this week. Jets are actually Bills are actually 0-2 in the division so far. Jets are 2-1. Miami's 2-1. Patriots 1-1. I probably screwed up something there, but
no, you didn't, and that was I just couldn't believe it that we're 0-2. Hey Joe, it's weird that you just couldn't mute yourself, bro. Couldn't do
that time. I've usually been pretty about it. That one
snuck
up on me.
But I'm just not used to seeing the AFC East being competitive as this is, and even if it comes to the detriment of the Patriots, I kind of like seeing competitive football in this division for once.
I don't.
Listen,
I'm not. Listen, I'm once again for the fans, by the fans. I'm a fucking fan first. I'm an analyst second.
Yeah.
I want dominance. Care about no fucking parity. care about that shit. Parodies for movies and for suckers. I want dominance. I want to win. I can care nothing. I can care less about how. I mean, yes, from a league standpoint, sure, you get to market more players, and more teams are invested as they go into week 9 and week 10. That's great. That's great. But from my perspective, my point of view, I'd rather see dominance. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, if you look at this, the remaining 8 games, you probably have to go 6-2,
5-3.
right? Assuming that Josh Allen's elbow is actually intact and he's going to play for the rest of the year and he's not hurt. Can you see 5 or 6 wins out of New York, Minnesota? Okay, so New York, the Jets, yeah, win, sure. Minnesota, it's a primetime game, so we're probably going to win that game.
Yeah.
It's 2 wins. Buffalo, it's a loss. Right?
No, they'll split. They'll split like last year. They'll split.
Okay, but the first game is at home.
It
You're gonna lose that one.
It depends. Well, we
Yeah, last year.
beat them there last year. Extenuating
No,
circumstances.
it's here. It's here. I mean,
Oh, okay.
No,
then.
I'm saying, but just like last year, you and I predicted it. We said they'll win out there and then they'll lose in New England.
yeah. All I'm just saying is, if you look at those teams,
What's the next one?
All right, so
Good
it's
sounds good.
the Jets, Minnesota, primetime, that's a win. Buffalo, that's a Thursday night game. Arizona, primetime game. Vegas, as bad as they are, Bill is notorious for losing against former head coaches, regardless of how terrible the team is. Then it's Cincinnati, which is week 16. We figured that Joe Burrow, the Tiger King, with Jamar Chase will be back and they'll be gunslinging. It's Cincinnati, Miami, Buffalo to end the year.
Not easy.
Yeah, they could go 6-2, 5-3 in there.
I think 5-3 is more feasible. Arizona was not the team that people thought they were or we thought they were. So that, to me, that's a win as well. Listen,
Are they better?
Kyler
than
Murray's
Chicago?
0-2 since 0-2 since Scott came out, right, Craig?
sorry?
Jesse Josh has not beaten Bill. He hasn't.
Mike caught it.
What? Yes, he has.
When he
In Denver.
Yeah, he beat him in Denver.
He did.
Yeah,
beat
they went.
them.
They were 6-0. We were one of the 6.
Yeah, back in the day.
Gotcha. Okay. Was that Tebow year? Obviously, it had to be Tebow.
No, it was the year. Nope.
Oh, with Kyle Oren. With Kyle Oren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
it was
Okay,
an hour
okay.
now.
The legend
that-
killer, Kyle Orton.
Gotcha. Yeah. I hear voices in his head, but yeah.
But-
No. Yeah. That's okay. Well, either way, history won't be repeated in week 14 whenever they face each other. I think that you just named 4 wins. So Minnesota, New York, Arizona, and in Vegas. So
Mike,
Right.
Mike,
So now-
that puts you at 9 wins right there. So now you got to win one of those games against Buffalo and in Miami.
But now that means, well, I think that 11-6 is what's gonna I think all the other teams are still gonna.
That would be a miracle.
Right.
I
So
would go vegan for a month when they go 11-6.
I just don't know how you find 5 or 6 wins when you have to play Buffalo twice.
let's go through it. Mike, go through it one by one. I'll give you a reason why they beat each team
the Jets.
or why they lose. The Jets is at home, and I don't see them losing after the way they handled them the first time around.
At Minnesota, primetime.
Primetime game, I think Bill can get that defense to get into Kirk Cousins' head.
Yep, just stop 18.
And you also going to stop Dalvin.
If he doesn't stop himself first.
Buffalo at home, 10 days off. Should maybe have Christian Barmore back by then.
No. It's 7 days off. It's Thanksgiving and
then Thursday.
Yeah,
And then
time.
Thursday.
I think that's 3 straight primetime games.
4.
Yeah, and then that's at home. If Josh Allen is unhealthy, they win that game.
Sure. Okay. Arizona, I think we should beat them.
Yeah,
I should beat them.
They're not a good team right now.
That's out there. That's out there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll beat Arizona because they'll beat them. They're just I think we're a better team.
At Vegas. Well, they got to flex that game. They have to flex that.
They'll probably flex that game, but I think.
I mean, it depends.
because
It depends
team,
what happens.
that team stinks right now, and I think Bill knows it.
Then it's Cincinnati.
It's
That's
winnable.
here. That's here,
It's
though, right?
winnable.
That's here.
Jamar's coming back then. He's scheduled to come back week 15. That's week 16. He'll be back.
It's winnable. It's winnable because it's going to be at home. That offensive line is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
And they may have the division wrapped up by then too. I mean, it's just
yeah. So who knows?
So, who knows? They might rest some people.
You finish Miami and Buffalo. At Buffalo.
Miami's at home, right?
Yeah, 1:00 game.
Yeah, I think that's a loss.
Same. And
I think the
Buffalo's
Buffalo
a
away
loss.
game is a loss. So I'm 5-3, 6-2 in there.
Everything has to go.
It's possible. It's
Well,
possible. And I'm looking at this from a defensive side of the ball. I just don't think, unless the offense corrects itself or they start doing something different with Patricia's play calling and Mac's play. Stop tipping your pitches, Mac. But they can.
Before Craig brings us home and yells at me for us for hijacking the show, I just want to point out,
Prefer it.
this defense, yes, they've had a couple of really standout games so far and recently. But what I will say is you let Chicago 33 on you before they had a number one wide receiver. And that team's only going to get better as it goes on. You also let Green Bay score 27 on you, and they have been able, and Aaron Rodgers has not been able to tie his fucking shoes since that game. So
I don't know
in New England, we had this thing where we elevated, we put the defense on a pedestal. We did it last year too, and then it all came crashing down. Our defense has to be elite to win 4 of the next 8 games if the offense is operating this way. There has to be something.
One touchdown a game is not going to fucking do it. And once again, maybe, and I know that Bill always preaches, it's all facets of the game. So yes, maybe it's going to take another Jonathan Jones pick 6. It's going to take a Jack Jones pick 6. Maybe it's going to take another strip sack from Junior or Barmer when he comes back. Like, cause I think that's a big piece, right? He's been out for a while. Getting him back in that interior presence. Once again, the front seven is already really good. Obviously Barmer adds another element to that defense. So, as long as they get healthy at the right time, Jabril Peppers has been phenomenal. And this year for us, obviously, everyone knows how me and Craig feel about Duggar. Like he is that guy. On that side of the ball. So yeah, I mean, yes, they have to do it against an elite quarterback. Is what Mike was trying to say. He was kind of dancing around it, but I'll bring it on. It has to be against an elite quarterback. We get it. Well, also we're not seeing elite quarterbacks when we face Josh because you told me numerous times that Kirk Cousins is not elite, so fine, okay. And then obviously Zach Wilson's not elite. So
can we just agree that as bad as Kirk Cousins is after the sun goes down, you can't just score one offensive touchdown against him.
Oh no, it's shit out city, baby. They going in. Jefferson, Thielen. Then you bring in my guy. Baby Strong, TJ Hawkinson. Like what? Yeah. Oh yeah. It's they gonna run it up. They gonna run it up. And you go ahead and skull. You go ahead and skull chair all night. You go ahead and skull chair all night.
Cooks the cherry on. Cooks the cherry on top.
Because very large cherry on top.
If it gets to a point where Dalvin Cook is a factor in that game, it's because Minnesota's already up and now they're just controlling the clock.
Right.
Then it's really over because no matter if it's Zappy or if it's Mac, if this team gets down 10, 14, here's what we've seen, like they can't overcome that. They can't.
No, but I mean, Bigfoot Nick, 5-6 field goals, baby. Listen, and I joked about it. We joked about it in our group text, but I don't want to keep texting that Nick Folks the MVP. I mean, he's out there too fucking much. He only should be out there for extra points, and maybe one.
He'd be out there once, right? Just once.
Right, exactly. Once. You know what I'm saying? It's like once again, only scored the offensive touchdown was because they were that close to the end zone. Like they don't move the ball. And I'm just like, you gotta, in order to help out Mac or Zappy, whoever's in there for the quarterback position, you have to be able to run the ball, and that goes back to the offensive line. The offensive line really is the key. When the offensive line has played well this year, they're gonna be in the game. That's not an opinion. Or it's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. It's a fact. If that offensive line is on point, and Coach Shea should get back to where he was. Once again, he had a good 7 to 8 games. So if we can get back to that, and then like I said, you get guys in a natural position on the line, get Andrews back, and whoever's that. I know Cannon's out for a while. He's on the IR, but he wasn't expected to do much of all. And then Trent Brown is what he's been at times. They just need better play up front. It's just that simple. And it sounds simplistic as we're talking about it, but it really is that. Like, make sure that Mac is clean for the most part. And my plea, my beg to you, Mac, stop thinking. If this is the case, I don't know if it's the case, but I'm gonna pretend that's the case for now. Stop thinking that every play is concerning your job. That's how you're playing right now. Stop playing like everything.
It's how he's doing. It's how
Right.
he's
So yeah. So take a have a fucking woosah moment. Shout out to Bad Boys too. You need to have a woosah moment and just say, okay, my pressure points cap. Yes, my pressure points. Take a deep fucking breath. Maybe say that's a nice fucking fish, and then just find guys all over. I don't care if it's a 5-yard slant. Maybe we should trade for Michael Thomas. And maybe Mac would have been a better.
He'll be great. He'll be great in 2 years.
Sure, that's true. I'm just saying, because 5-yard slants is what we do best. So I just felt, hey, he would have been perfect for this offense. So yeah, stop playing like every player is gonna lose you your job. Go out there, be the reason why we drafted you at 15, and just go from there.
Not much more we can really add to that. I just want to say before we say goodbye tonight here, we are recording this on Tuesday night, the 8th of November. Of course, the first, technically a second Tuesday in November. It was election day. I hope you all went out there and did your civic duty and was able to vote for whoever you wanted to end up voting for. I hope everyone got out there and was able to vote for whoever they wanted. I hope it's just something that's important to everybody, so hopefully you all got out and do it. So for Joe Malkin, for Rayshawn Buchanan, for Michael Marcangelo, this has been the 617. I might have another treat for you later this week here on the show. Maybe. We'll see. But for Rayshawn, Michael, and Joe, I am Craig D'Alessandro. This has been the 617, the voice of the Boston fans by the Boston fans, brought to you by the Crowworthy Network, and we'll talk to you next week.